Talk radio for the Generation X audience and beyond who have conservative values. Now, here's the host of Exservatives Talk, Donald Thornton.
All right, we're back, and I have as my guest Ilona Turner. She is a legal director for the Transgender Law Center, and we're talking about the recent decision last month by the EEOC, the Equal Employment Commission, to add transgender discrimination to their Section 7 Sex Discrimination Civil Rights Act, basically protecting it. And now what this does now, it sets a national precedent. Obviously, it doesn't have the teeth that a court ruling or a legislature would have if they voted on this. I believe there's 16 states that already have transgender discrimination on the books. But this basically sets a national wave, if you will, in which anybody who is transgender can now go to their local EEOC office and can now file a complaint with not just a public employer, but a private employer, mom and pop store on the corner, if they feel like they've been discriminated against because of their gender identity, or because they are male and they identify as a female, or if they are female and identify as male and they feel they were mistreated either in the hiring process or while they're employed with that company. They can now file a complaint with you, private business, with the EEOC. And I want to know what you think. Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? And what does this mean about our nation? Is it a trend that's good, or is it a trend that's bad? 800-949-5973. Let's go ahead and take some more calls real quick. Let's take Andy. Andy, you're on Exservatives Talk with Donald Thornton and Ilona Turner. Let me know what you are thinking, sir.
Hi, Donald. I'm actually a female. I agree with Ms. Turner. I am a Chinese-American business owner myself, and I was raised in the Bible Belt, so I know all about Christianity. I was raised with the Bible. But I agree with Ms. Turner. I think this is a positive step for America. If I decide that in my Chinese restaurant, I own a Chinese restaurant, of course, if you, Sir Donald, are too black to be a waiter because it doesn't fit my culture, where does that put us? That puts us back in the 60s. Or if someone decides that I'm too Chinese, I majored in French, but I'm too Chinese to speak French. I couldn't possibly speak French.
Okay, but again, you're making the same mistake. I don't know if you listened to the first segment. You're making the same mistake that I think Ilona and many people on your side of this argument have. You're comparing my ethnicity with a trait that is not biological. I cannot change my blackness. I was born black. It is innate. It was in my DNA. It was in my genes. There is no scientific proof. Andy,
I have heard that argument, and I disagree with it. I know.
Well, you can disagree with it all you want. Those are scientific facts.
No, I disagree with
wait. You can't just say, well, I just tossed that out. Every scientific...
Well,
no, but there's no scientific study that's been done that proves...
There's no scientific ruling either way, so I understand where you're coming from, but neither of us can prove our ground at this point.
Well, yes, we can. I'm proving my point. I'm telling you. Being a transgender...
You can't prove your point by telling me. I can prove my point by telling you.
No, I'm telling you there is no study, Andy, that has proven that transgenderism is an innate state. You're not born...
Has there been a study that has disproven it?
Yes, there have been plenty of studies. The Human Genome Project, there have been twin studies, there have been biological studies, behavioral studies. I have on my blog something I wrote called the... dispelling the myth of being born this way. There have been multiple studies in the last 25 years to try to prove the innateness of sexual orientation and transgenderism. Every single one of them have come back either inconclusive or they have been debunked because there is no gay gene and there is nobody who is born a man and finds out when he's 3 or 4 or 10 that he's a woman. That is a choice. You can debate that. You can say all you want, but there is no scientific proof that that is true.
Who chooses at 3 or 4?
But again, I'm going back to the fact that you're comparing that to ethnicity. It is not the same. It is not the same as some man who's a man and decides, well, I want to be a woman. I feel better as a woman. I'm going to be a woman. I'm going to dress as a woman. That is not the same as somebody who's born Chinese, somebody who's born black, somebody who's born Hispanic. It's not the same.
If it's not, what does it affect?
It affects everything. It affects everything. Andy.
Not that long ago, it was considered scandalous if we wore pants because you could see our legs. Our legs were defined.
Okay.
And this is simply a new cultural standard.
Oh, wow. Andy, I don't know.
If a man wants to wear a dress, why can he not?
He can. But not if he wants to come work for me. He can't. He can. If a man decides he wants to wear a dress, he can do that all he wants to. He can do that. But once that man is hired by me, he gets a paycheck from me. I'm paying him. He is adhering to the culture that I've set. If he's signed on the dotted line, like everybody does who gets hired by a business, you sign on the dotted line saying you're going to adhere to the policies and the culture of that company or that business, then you, for at least 8 hours a day, you don't own yourself. You work for me. I decide the culture, and you have to fit into that culture. Period.
Wow. You guys are doing her fascist.
No, that's the truth. That is the truth. You work for me. You get a paycheck from me. You have just signed on the dotted line and said, you're saying you adhere to whatever policies I set in my business, whatever culture I want in my business.
2 minutes.
That is the way it is. If you don't like that, okay, well, bye. Now, if you want to go to a company, if you want to work for the Transgender Law Center or for your restaurant, Andy, then you can go do that where you feel free. You can come to work dressed as a woman or come to work dressed as a man. Then great, fine that. But don't tell me that now, just across the board, I have to submit to now your change in gender identity. I have to say, well, it's okay, John, that you want to come dressed like Jill. And you're going to represent my company? I don't think so.
Donald, you know what else you can choose? Your religion.
Right. Exactly.
Why is that protected?
Because you can't. That's a totally different thing. But that's choice.
Why? Yeah, it is a choice.
It is a choice. Just like being a transgender. Just like being homosexual. It is a choice. But
then why is religion protected then?
Because
if we don't protect anything that we are allowed to choose.
Well, I'm not saying you. No. I'm not saying you. My point is you can choose it. It is a choice. It is not biological because you came on comparing it to ethnicity. Fine. It's not the same.
If I grant you that, then why is it not the same as why is it not protected the way religion is?
Because that's a totally different genre.
Without a study that religion is something you choose.
Because that's a totally different genre. If number one, I don't really care if a person. Number one, if I'm a Christian, number one, I'm not going to go apply at a business that I believe is Muslim. If it's a business that I know is operated by Muslims, I'm not going to, number one, go apply at that business in the first place. More than likely, they're looking for somebody that's a Muslim. So if I'm going to go there and apply, I'm already trying to cause trouble. That's ridiculous. Okay?
But you should be allowed to work there.
Of course you should be allowed to, but why would you want to? Why would I as a Christian want to work around people who are Muslims, who identify as Muslims, who run a Muslim business? Why would I want to go work there? I mean, that's ridiculous.
You've been listening to Excervatives Talk radio for the Generation X audience and beyond, with host Donald Thornton.